Good evening, gang. It's Tuesday, the 11th of June, 2019, a nighttime show. And why are we here at nighttime? Why are we here at nighttime? Because all went a bit wrong this morning. We had a bit of a technical issue with one of the computers, which meant it kept freezing like this. It kept freezing like this, and from what I can see in front of me, it's not freezing now. I've kind of dropped the quality a bit to see if that improves it. Although we haven't really had that problem for a long time. I think I'll be honest, I think the laptop needs replacing that I used to broadcast the show with. It's, for those of you technically minded, it's got an i5 processor in it. The one at home that I never ever have a problem with has got an i7. And I think it needs a little bit more processing power to be able to do these shows. So, I've already looked into it. And actually, is it me or have computers gone up in price, dear? God, I'm sure the last time I bought one was about 400 quid. They're now like 500 and 600 and 700 quid. Dear, I'll have to put my prices up. That's all there is to it. Well, a very good evening to you. Who's with us? Late at night, we might pick up some different people today as well. So, good evening to here comes the roll list. Here's the roll list. Oh, by the way, those of you that watch on YouTube suddenly, there seems to be a bit of an issue. There's two YouTube streams, actually, which you can find at youtube.com/Chris Reardon UK. But if you go there now, there's only one. I'll be honest, I don't know why there's usually two anyway, but now there's only one. So I think they've been doing something at YouTube, which is kind of affecting that. So we'll just stick with it. And I can't see anyone at all on YouTube this morning, so it may, or this evening, so it may be that they usually watch the other stream, which doesn't seem to be working for some reason. All very strange and mysterious. That's what it is, dear. Good evening to Wayne Martin. Good evening, Wayne. Joey Millen is in the house. Hello to Diane Jebb. Russ Philip Vernon. Hello to you. Mike Reese Ponto. Good morning to you, sir. Abdizirak. Good morning. You've got some fantastic clothes. I presume that's what you wear in your country. Some fantastic clothes you wear. I've seen in your pictures there. Good evening to the delightful Kim Witt. Good evening, Kim. With us at night time this evening. Let's be honest, it's so much better than anything on the television, isn't it? Go on, be honest. It is. What have you got? It's either me or Holby. I usually watch Holby. I'm watching it a bit later on the iPlayer, on the BBC iPlayer Colour. Yes, dear. Wayne says it's freezing. It's just you, Wayne. It's not a problem at this end at the moment. So that's a problem with you, all right? Hello to Norma, who is in Massachusetts, USA. I'm just trying to think of the Bee Gees song by the Massachusetts to sing. The good news is I can't remember how the tune or words go, so I'm not going to sing it. There are people who watch this show in the morning who switch off immediately I start singing. I don't know why that is. I think I'm a pretty good singer. Would you like me to burst into song now? Oh, okay, I won't bother then. Hello to Matt Joplin. He's on his way to do some DJing. He's got a new DJing job on a Tuesday night. Wow. Well, I hope it works for you, Matt. Let me tell you, DJing jobs on the Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday nights are very hard to come by. They really are. So if you've got one, I hope it works. I know you're just starting that one today, isn't it? There's no jerking going on here, Mike. Believe me, I hope there's no jerking at all going on today. Have a nice time at the cinema. He's going to see the Pokemon movie. Oh, not something that's appealed to me, actually, I'll be honest. There's a couple of films I want to see at the moment, and to be honest, I've left them a bit late. The new Elton John film, the biography film, which there's a lot of people saying what you see in the film isn't necessarily what happened in his life, but I'd like to see that anyway. Oh gosh, there's another one as well. Aladdin. I quite like the music in Aladdin, you know, the real life version instead of the cartoon version. They've got actual people, real people, dear. Real people. We don't know many of those, do we? We've got new people there, real people. So I want to see the Aladdin movie as well. Hello to LaBelle joining us in the evening. Good evening, LaBelle. You're probably just about getting up now, aren't you? LaBelle is a drag queen and hostess in New York City, and she came across the show a few weeks ago now and has stuck with it for some strange unbeknown reason. She says, good evening, you gorgeous, gene-eyed love, master of love. It's 3 o'clock here on Long Island, New York. We have an afternoon show today. Afternoon. Practically peak time, dear. Peak time. That's it. Peak time. Hello to Roy Brownlowe. A very good evening to you. He's been back on a world tour. Have you been on holiday then, Roy? I didn't know that. Ah, the delightful Graham Lang. Good evening, Graham. You're looking very ministerial today. I must say, the old dark glasses on. You know, I had to look 4 times at your photo, Graham, to realise it was you. It's a very good disguise, dear. You could be... Are you a Russian agent? Are you a Russian agent? If you like spy programmes, there's a very good series on the... I don't think it's on the telly anymore. It's on the BBC iPlayer, in colour, and it's called Rockets of Summer. Okay, Rockets of Summer. I'm up to episode 5 now, and it's very, very good. There's a bloke who's been drawn into something, and there's 2 groups of people. One are Russians, and one are MI5. But you don't know what... I can't... I'm up episode 5 now, and I'm still not sure who's MI5 and who are the... They're both saying they're MI5, but one of the groups of people is lying. It's really good. Rockets of Summer. You'll like that, actually, Graham. I know you like that. Set around late 50s, I would say. Set around the late 50s, okay? All right. Wayne says, please don't sing. Oh, come on, Wayne. You know I'm a good singer, dear. Don't be jealous, love, because no one ever, I bet no one ever comes up to you. Let me tell you, Wayne hosts karaoke nights, the same as me. Not as good as I do, obviously, but he does host a karaoke night or 2. I bet no one ever comes up to you and says, would you sing us a song? Am I right, Graham? Sorry, darling. Is the truth hurting you a little bit there, lovey? Does no one ever ask you to sing? I constantly requests coming in for me to sing all the time. I'll tell you about that. There's my sister, Sharon Butler, who's watching in Cyprus this evening, which is amazing. They've got about half a meg there. Half a meg. I'm probably in black and white. The speed is so slow in Cyprus. Good evening, sister. No doubt her husband's watching, Martin as well. Possibly even niece Tracy. She might be in bed already. And Ben, of course. Aladdin is good. I haven't seen Aladdin yet. Good evening to Dukey Chrissy boy. Good evening, Chris. Hello, sir. Have you got any free afternoons next week, Chris? Wednesday or Thursday, as a matter of interest. Do you have a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon free next week? Good evening to James Dean. He runs a mega charity. I hope you're not going to be one of those overpaid charity people, James. I will be disappointed, dear. You know, oh, we're running a charity to help. I don't know. Actually, I can't remember what your charity is. I'll make it up. We're running a charity to help the homeless. You know, all people, please give money to this. How much are you on, James? 150 grand a year. Nope, I won't be putting money in that pot, love. I hope you are a volunteer. A volunteer. I'm voluntary. This is a voluntary service that I provide to the British public and beyond. It is. Incidentally, gang, with those technical issues we had earlier, anyone who's watching on a very big screen, have you noticed a slight deterioration in the quality? Because I've dropped, for technical people, I've dropped the bit rate a little bit. Could you tell me if you're watching on like a large screen, something like a, you know, like a normal telly, maybe 40-inch or 50-inch, have you noticed a degradation in the quality? I can check myself afterwards, but not while I'm live, because I don't have a big screen in here, all right? Roy says, I bought a Samsung A10 phone. I'm told it will make even you look pretty. Oh, come on, dear. Come on, Roy. You know, I think I might turn you gay, actually. Roy's got a nice wife, you know, but he watches this show. He ogles over me. As to most of the straight lads watching this show, the wives are terrified unless I turn them gay, dear. You know, the wives are terrified. They are. In fact, there's a little story that leads us very nice into our first story today in the Daily Mirror, which I find the Daily Mirror is fantastic for all these types of stories. Are you ready, lads? Those of you that are married, got girlfriends, I want you to tell me if this is true or not. Ready? Here we go. In the Daily Mirror this morning, when it comes to relationships, there are many reasons why one may come to an end. From unfaithfulness to the spark of simply fizzing out. Has it ever fizzled out for you? Has it? Has it fizzled out for you before? It seems to fizzle out for me, you know, after just like 2 hours of being with someone. You know, I get all excited and I chat, and then they start and, oh, God, I'm just bored now. Relationships do seem to fizzle out for me, maximum after 2 hours. How long have you managed to be with your partner? I tell you what, I'll even I'll even open the phone line on this one in a moment. Not yet. Just in case you're desperate, sitting there lonely in a room somewhere. Like I am here, actually. Sitting there lonely in a room somewhere and you want someone to talk to about this, then I will open the phone line in a moment or two after I've read the story, okay? So you can call in. I can only take one call at a time, mine. So if there's someone talking and you're ringing, no one will answer. It's not like I've got a switchboard full of people next door. You know, perish the thought I would ever be able to afford my own members of staff to run around with tea and dinners and answering phones. Anyway, let's read this. But there's one reason for breaking up that you just don't come across every often, says this story in the Daily Mirror. And that's your boyfriend, this is written by a lady, that's your boyfriend becoming convinced that your body is inhibited by an evil spirit from the past. Ah! Come on, lads, have a look at your ladies. Do they look a little bit, dare I say, witch-like? Get you, my pretties, and your little dog too. Is that how your ladies... Are your ladies looking a little bit witch-like? She says, one woman has revealed that her partner believes she is the reincarnation of a witch. And so she's confused about how to proceed. She's decided to seek help from an agony aunt. The unnamed woman explains that her boyfriend of 3 years has always had an interest in the supernatural. I haven't got my echo button here, so I'll have to do it manually. That's like a supernatural laugh, yeah. But has recently taken things to another level. She says, my boyfriend Peter wants... I'll do it in the woman's voice. My boyfriend Peter wants to break up with me. Peter has always had an interest in the paranormal and things like that. Over the past 6 months, however, Peter has moved further left of the socially accepted idea of normal. Well, come on, gang. Who is normal? Do I look like a normal person? No. Can you just imagine? I just want you to just imagine for yourselves one moment what it would be like to be normal. I mean, just for example, have a look at some of the presenters on the BBC News Channel or BBC Breakfast or Sky News. No fun. They just sit there with that serious old face, except for Simon, who's on in the afternoons. He's a bit of a loose cannon. Simon on the BBC News Channel in the afternoons. Bit of a loose cannon he is. Why would you want to be bland? Actually, even worse, watch some of those quiz shows. Anyone seen Tenable? That's replaced Jeremy Kyle. How boring is that? What a boring blooming quiz that is. It's so bland. I can't believe it. Not a single insult in the whole show. How boring is that? God, we carry on. The story goes on. He's become convinced that I am the reincarnation of an evil witch. And sure, maybe he just thinks I'm an evil witch and wants an excuse to dump me. Maybe, love. I'd actually be relieved if that were true, to be honest. Peter really seems to believe that I am an evil soul, though, and it's quite sad, and I'm quite sad over this. She goes on to explain that she's concerned for his mental well-being. Aren't we all concerned for mental? Do I look like someone who should be concerned about my mental well-being? If the relationship ends. He's not violent or a risk to himself, and there are plenty of worse conspiracy theories out there. On the other hand, he also wants to end a 3-year relationship. 3 years, dear? God, what, with one person? How does anyone do that? You know, I hear these stories of people that have been together with for 1, 10, 20, 30 years. 30 years sleeping next to the same body in a bed. Oh, how awful. I mean, don't it start going off after a while? Martin, my sister's husband, have you not noticed that my sister started going off a little bit? You know, All those years. 30. I mean, 3 years she's been in that. It was time to get someone new, dear. God's sake. Variety is the spice of life. Thank you very much. He says he wants to end it because he realised he's dating an evil spirit. That doesn't seem like the decision of a healthy psyche. And this has just happened in a relatively short space of time. Well, is it anything to do with the fact that you keep stirring a big pot on the stove, my love? With bits of frogs and dead cats and things in it like that? You know, and tongue of serpents? It feels like I'm the only person in his life with a healthy dose of scepticism. And that's it, where it would be irresponsible to be just leave for saner pastures. But he's a grown man and he doesn't want me around anymore. Bye-bye. Well, just go, dear. Don't be hanging on. God's sake. There's too many people hang on. Once it's gone wrong, get out of it, girl, and be done with it. Bye-bye. Unless you're not very good looking, in which case I'd suggest you hang on to him. But he's a grown man and doesn't want me around anymore. So is there anything I can do? No. He don't want you. Go. He's obviously not inclined to take my evil-inspired advice right now. And that's it, basically. So he thinks his wife is a reincarnated evil witch. What do you think? My question to you tonight, boys and girls, is do you think your partner is an evil reincarnated witch or wizard? It's not just the ladies who turn into witches. Some of the men turn into witches too. I known a few witches in my time, my loves. No, I'm not one myself. And you get these people, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a witch. Oh, right, okay. Oh, well, could you get this person to fall in love? Ah, well, it doesn't work like that. Well, you're not a witch then, are you? There we are. There's a phone line up there. You can, if you want to, text. There is a little phone in front of me that takes texts, okay? You can text in, but the phone number is not the same as the text number. There's the phone number up there on the right-hand side. 0208144 3477 is our local London number. It's not one of those premium rate things or anything like that. 0208144 3477 if you want to call in, okay? If you don't want to call in, that's fine as well. You know, I don't worry about that too much. No one wants to call in. I know, I understand that, you know, not everyone loves me, and that's it. Okay, right, let's read some of your messages now. We've been sort of falling a little bit behind with those. Oh, if I can't see them. Why can't I see those? 1 minute. Let me pull something over there. Witch-like people. That's what we got. That's what we want. Witch-like people. Oh, cross. Right, we're going to. Blimey, we've got to scroll down quite far, haven't I? 1 second. Where did we get to? I can't remember where we got to. Oh, there, Graham, Roy. There we are. Is that it? Good evening to Sarita, joining us this evening. Evening, Sarita. Welcome to our little show, my darling. I've missed you as well, Sarita. That's a lovely name, Sarita. Good evening to Ross Patzelt. He's in Norwich, not too far from here, actually. When are you going to sell up your house and move into a caravan full-time? I can tell you love it. Oh, believe me, Ross, I do. I love being in this caravan. Now, today, it's been awful today. Right, it started last night. When I left London last night, 11 o'clock, it was pouring down with rain. Absolutely chucking it down. Absolutely chucking it down last night. Okay, and it's continued. I went to bed, it was pouring down, and I got ever so wet. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. Let's carry on with this story now. But you're right, I actually love being in a caravan. I love it. Love it. Ross says, we deliver to some amazing, huge caravans where people live all year and they love it and so much cheaper than a house. Yes, there's a bit more maintenance to a caravan, obviously, as well. You have to do things often. I've got a little maintenance issue now. I came in to have I must remember to change my words for the show. I came in last night to have a little wee, and the light won't go on. It's one of those pull switches, you know, I've got in the bathroom. It's only a small bathroom, but when you pull it, it doesn't click anymore. It's not moving whatever it's supposed to move. Now, I quickly unscrewed it and I had a look. There's only 2 wires in there. and I may attempt that myself. Chris Reardon DIY Services comes to the rescue. Those of you that know me, that I'm not particularly good at DIY, but I think, hang on a minute, actually the fuse box is here. Let me have a quick look. There is a thing in my fuse box which says lighting circuit. So I reckon if I turn that off, then that will be dead, and it's just a case of taking that off, taking 2 wires off, putting them on a new one, and putting it back again. But things are never as easy as that. In the world of DIY, things are not easy. I'm telling you that now. But I love a go. I love a go. Sarita says, my eyes are looking extra blue. They're not. They're green, darling. LaBelle knows that. I've got green eyes. Have a good look. Green eyes. Green eyes. Was it Shaking Stephen? Oh, no, that was Green Door. Do you remember that? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, the Green Door. Green Door. Incidentally, if you're new to the show, welcome along. I'm usually here around about 9:30 in the morning, UK time. Okay. Thank you, Ross. Ross says it's decent quality on his full screen laptop. Okay, laptop's not very big. You know, even if you've got a big one, it's the 50-inch and 40 and 50 inches that you would notice if there's been a degradation in the quality. I've tried to take a little bit of pressure off the processor in this little laptop here. A very good evening to Paul Isaac Roberts joining us tonight. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show. Mark Jones in the house. LaBelle, do you think you need an O-ring light? Yes, LaBelle, I do. I've seen those. O-ring lights. They're very good. In here, there are actually 3 lights. There's one directly in front of me there, one up there and one up there that my brother-in-law gave me, those 2 up there. And they're all battery operated. These O-ring ones kind of go like that. So there's not something directly at your face. I've seen them. But the trouble is, LaBelle, I'm a bit tight with myself. I don't like to spend money on myself. And that's absolutely true. You ask anyone who knows me, okay, and they will tell you that, you know, trying to get me to part with my money. It took me, I've got it's not an armchair, but it's like a relaxer chair that I bought in the house, okay, with a little footstool. 250 quid it cost. It took me 3 years to buy that. I kept going 5 times. It must have been 5 times. I went into John Lewis and I sat in this particular electric chair. It was electric recliner. Oh, it was lovely. Bzz, 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 bzz. You push a button and the feet come up like that. Oh, it was so comfortable. I just could not. 3 years. 3 years I was doing that, and eventually I went to somewhere else and bought something completely different because I wouldn't spend that. It was that chair was 900 quid. Oh, £900 for a chair? God, I'm terrible. So yes, the O-ring light, I've looked at it and it looks very good. Looks very good. That I think you're absolutely right. Thank you for mentioning that. Roy's never been married. I just use them. I just trade them in. I'm too ugly to be gay or lesbian. Well, there's something we agree on, Roy. That's something. So am I. That's why I'm on my own, mate. LaBelle, only 2 hours. You must be a joy to be with. Oh, I just get fed up with people after a couple of hours. Even friends. Oh, yes. I never stay anywhere more than 2 hours. I make an excuse and go. It's absolutely true. My mate comes round to the house sometimes, you know. We'll watch a couple of hours of telly and I'm like, well, what time are you going? I need to go to sleep. I can't bear it. It just gets so boring. Oh, dear. Paul, let's have a look. 8 years he's been with someone. 8 years, the first one was for 8 years. 3 years for this one, but I don't think it's going to reach 4 if I'm honest. Oh, he's not watching, is he? Or her? I don't know. Who are you? Hang on a minute. Paul. Oh, I'm not sure. I know you. I can't. Oh, yeah. It'd be a he, wouldn't it? Yeah, you look a bit gay. You got that look. It's not going to reach year 4. Well, I hope you don't watch this programme, mate. Otherwise, you're in for it. Don't let him dump you first. Oh, no, dear. That's bad. Very bad to be dumped first. You've got to do it. All right. Hello to Michelle White. Michelle is head of Waitrose. She is the CEO of Waitrose. Good evening, Michelle. Very important people watch this programme, you know. Oh, yes. Not just customer services representatives, you know, the ones you ring up on the phone. Hello, we're sorry you are held in a queue. However, you will be collected to a customer services representative as soon as one becomes available. Please hold the line. You know, those sort of people. Roy says he never had wives, just weekday lovers, and sent them home after 2 nights when ironing and lovemaking sorted. Aren't you awful? Michelle, my ex-husband, thinks I'm an evil witch. Does he? Oh, I wonder why that is, Michelle. Oh dear, you're all too much tonight. Mike, watching on his iMac 5K screen this evening. I'm a little grainier than normal, yes. I basically dropped the quality a little bit. I'll put it up again tomorrow because actually we've been using that same quality for ages, and I think the laptop just had a little bit of a hiccup this morning, okay? Poor LaBelle hasn't got a boyfriend either. Oh, I haven't dated for ages. I haven't. I wouldn't know what to do now. Honestly, I wouldn't. What do you do? I can't remember how to do dating. Would you like to come to the cinema? Or should we go for... You see, and the other thing is I don't drink LaBelle. Not at all. I'll have maybe a glass of champagne in the posh seats on the plane sometimes, or when I go for an afternoon tea. That's it. I don't do lager or... Oh, bitter. Isn't it? Vile stuff. How can anyone drink that? Bitter. You see all these old codgers, they're making their own beer. In a shed. My Uncle Terry, who's no longer with us, God rest his soul. Wonderful man. What a wonderful man he is. He used to make this beer in a shed. Buckets full of the bloody stuff. And then my other cousins used to go around, they all get pissed. It was enough strong stuff as well. They'd all wake up with headaches later. Oh dear. E.R. Martin says, I love your snoring sister. They are. Oh, that's a dead giveaway, the snoring. They are actually starting to go off. You wait till the smell starts and bits of skin start falling off. It's awful. Roy, my ex was a witch. Spelt bitch. Oh, I can't say that word. That's a naughty word, is it? Is it? Is that a naughty word, bitch? I don't think bitch is a naughty word. Tina Fink, hello to you. Good evening to Tina Fink. She's over there in New York. There's 2 people in New York. I'm practically taking over America. Practically taking it over. Mike, your phone number is a London number. Yes. It's a special number connected to Skype, actually. You get a list of numbers and you can choose. I could have an Australian number if I wanted, but I chose a London one. That kind of, says it all, doesn't it, really, London? Hello to Carl. Good evening to Carl. Welcome to the show, Carl. Sarita's laughing her head off, aren't you, darling? Sorry, love. Buy a tap light for your bathroom. What's a tap light? What's a tap light? I don't know what a tap light is. Oh, $50 on Amazon Prime. I'll have a look. I'll have a look at that. Roy wants LED lights in my bath. If you can fix them up. No, I don't. I won't do DIY for anyone. If you get electrocuted, you'll only claim. Claims direct. Can it help you? Yeah. LaBelle doesn't drink either, does she? No, that's right. Yeah. I mean, what do you do with... I just don't drink. There was a nice bloke last night in the pub, actually, and he was getting drunk. Shame, really. Chris, am I mean? Just bought my 10-year-old daughter a new quilt for a new bed. No, that's not. Why is that mean? Absolutely. No, it's not. That's not mean. That's not mean. Buying your 10-year-old daughter a new quilt for her new bed. No, that is not mean at all. Not mean. In actual fact, I don't mind what I spend on children. I don't. My great nieces and great nephews, it doesn't bother me what, birthday comes, that's fine. Don't bother me. But when it comes to buying something for myself, I need a reason to buy it. I need a reason. Now, LaBelle, if you tell me I should buy the ring light because it will improve the show dramatically, then I will buy it. I need a reason to buy something. We don't upgrade phones all the time for no reason whatsoever. I'm due. I'm due an upgrade is neither here nor there. And you always hear people say they've got a perfectly good phone. Oh, I'm due an upgrade. They must have something new all the time. I'm not like that. I think you're probably not like that either, Roy. Hello to Trevor. I beg your pardon, Trevor Campbell. Good evening, Trevor. Welcome to the show. Robert Stedman's there. Hello, Robert. All right, Robbie. And that's it. Oh, it's for her birthday. Well, excellent. No, it's nothing wrong. What's wrong with a quilt for a little child's birthday? I think that's a nice present. My sister started making those, quilts and things like that. Right, we'll just flick over onto YouTube to see if there's anyone on there now. Yes, Paul and Lou. Hello, Paul and Lou. An evening show. Can we swear? Yeah, go on then. If you want to swear online, you feel free. You feel free to swear as much as you like. I don't mind. All right. A tap light looks like a smoke detector. You push the centre and it turns on and off. Oh, I've got one of those. Now I put a couple of those up in here just in case there was any power cuts. I took the one down in the bedroom. I've got one. It's in the hallway. I've actually taken it off temporarily and placed it next to my sink. Yeah, just touch it in the middle. Do you want me to go and get it for you? It means I've got to unplug myself. No, you know what they look like, don't you? You know what they look like. Good. Okay. So don't forget, gang, that phone number's there if you want to call in. If you don't, that's fine as well. We don't worry too much about phones. There's a lot of people that do internet radio shows who rely too much on requests and phone calls and messages, and you mustn't do a show like that, really. I don't think you can do a show like if you're just doing a show. What's the point in doing a show and just reading out messages? You've got to give it something more than that. That's how I feel about it anyway. One of those things. Okay, all right. I do wonder where the hot summer's gone. Do you remember weeks ago? And I read out several reports on the morning show, because we usually around about 9:30ish in the morning. Oh, by the way, thank you to those of you that are sharing the show on your walls and various other ways as well. Thank you very much. I see some of you doing that tonight, so thank you very much. I do appreciate that. People sharing, they copy and paste the thing at the top there and put it on their walls. But even more, millions of people. Is there enough room for you all? That's the question. Yeah, weeks ago, I've been reading out these various news stories. Oh, just a moment, please. I know who that is. It's Roy Brownlowe. Good evening, Roy. Is that you, Roy? Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Chris. I'm coming to my brand new phone.
Just a minute. Let me just turn you down. You really banged. Oh, I see what I've done. 1 minute. I'm so sorry. We've just deafened people there. Speak again.
I said, am I coming through loud and clear on my brand new phone?
You are coming through loud. That's a very clear phone. You say it's a Samsung?
Samsung A10.
Okay. Now, I don't really know that phone myself, but it sounds all right to me, sir.
Very good.
What'd you pay for that?
I've had it on a contract. I haven't had a contract for 4 years, so I've just took a contract for 2 years.
Oh, you do the contract? How much is that a month then?
£30, 30 gig of data. Takes 2 SIM cards.
Yes.
The camera is unbelievably the quality.
Is it? Yeah,
even I look good on it.
Well, my nephew and now his wife and now my brother-in-law and now my sister. It started with my nephew. He bought a Huawei phone. And I've got to say, the picture quality of his photographs and videos is something to believe when you see it. Yeah. I know there's a bit of trouble going in with a Huawei thing and all that business, but I personally think the Chinese, they'll sort that out,
Well, they're the biggest competitors, aren't they, blowing Apple and Samsung out the water, they reckon.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. If you ask me, that it's nothing about all this spying issue and all that. What it is, the Apple people and the American phone manufacturers are frightened that the Chinese are taking away all the business. So I believe that's what all that's about. It's nothing to do with spying.
When you've had the market for so long, and then somebody comes along, obviously they don't like it, do they?
Yeah, but it's a bit unfair, isn't it, really? I mean, the Huawei phone, and I've actually seen people with the Samsung phones as well, even the ones a year ago. And I have to say, I think the picture quality that comes out from videos and films is superior to the ones I get on my iPhone.
Yeah. The only thing, I've been 5 to 10 minutes trying to ring you because I've got face recognition on. I've got my glasses on, and obviously when I did it, I didn't have my glasses on.
Does it not recognise you if you've got your glasses on?
No, because when you set it up, you can have fingerprint, face. Obviously, you've got to fall back on a pin in case it don't work.
Yeah.
You set it up and you sort of not take a photo, but you look into the camera. It recognises your phone. But obviously, I didn't have my glasses on when I did that.
How funny is that?
The only thing, Chris, which anybody's thinking of buying one of these, the only downfall that I've got is you have to have the SIMs. You have to have smaller SIMs,
right?
The miniature SIMs.
What's the purpose of having? Sorry, what's the purpose of having
It's
two
just-
SIMs in there?
It's so you can fit 2 SIM cards on the little slide bit that goes into the phone, isn't it? So obviously the SIMs have to be smaller.
But why would you have 2 SIM cards? What's that for?
Well, I've got sometimes if I give my number out, Chris, to somebody and I don't really know them, I don't like giving them my mobile number.
Right.
So with a second SIM, I can give them that second SIM number, which is just a pay-as-you-go SIM. Which if there's somebody who disliked me and tried to give me some grief, I could just throw the SIM away.
Oh,
Whereas
and then
the
they
other one's
can't
a
call. Oh, I
permanent
see.
number.
And then you just go and buy another pay-as-you-go thing, do you?
Yeah, for 50p or £1, buy another SIM.
I'm with you. Yeah, I get it.
So you've got my friend. He sells cars
Yes.
through the ad mag and them sort of places, and that's what he does. He buys SIMs, keeps it for a month, sells a few cars, then destroys the SIM, throws it away, so no one can get back in touch with it.
So he don't have to talk to people about the dodgy cars he sold them.
Yeah, there's a car
Oh,
goes wrong. and
that's dreadful. That's dreadful. Who is this person? Out them immediately.
Shall I name and shame? Ferret. I'm not going to tell you his name's Ferret, all right? The other little gripe I got with the phone, not talking about phones, but the other little gripe I've got, you pay all that money for a phone. I mean, if you work it out over 2 years, I'm probably paying £800 for the contracts.
Yes. Mm.
And they send you, it's now one of these, they send you one of these fast charge leads. It's like a special USB, not a mini USB, like a mini USB. It's called a data C cable, actually. Oh, and it charges on fast charge in about 40 minutes.
Is that all? Actually, no.
Yeah,
come to think of it, actually, my Apple phone doesn't take that long to charge.
Yeah.
I tell you what does take a long time.
Transfer data's the same.
I tell you what does take a long time to charge up. My my mini iPad. That takes ages.
Yeah.
I mean, hours. You have to kind of leave it in overnight, you know.
Yeah, it's the old USB list. And to transfer data, because my mate's got an MP3 player, and that takes a fast data cable.
Right.
And I could copy 300 songs onto his MP3 player in 10 minutes.
I'm with you. Yes.
And this is the same. But when they send you that cable. Of course, that cable it's Type C on both ends. It doesn't fit into your MacBook. So I've had to pay £8 for a cable today so I can transfer it from my Mac to my phone. It's 128 gigabyte of storage, this phone.
Oh, that's quite a lot. What did you have before that then?
Well, I've had the same phone for 4 years. I've had Samsung Galaxy Note 3.
Yeah,
the only thing wrong with it, Chris, it works perfect. I've got no need to upgrade. It works perfect, but there's a couple of apps I use. It's Android 6, and it won't update any more than Android 6. We're on Android 9 now, aren't we?
That's fair. That's fair enough. You know, once you can't start updating the apps because it's moved on that far, that is the time to upgrade. But like I was saying, you know, a little while ago, these people that, I'm due another upgrade, and every year they bought another phone.
Yeah. I mean, you never own it, do you? When you do that, you never own that phone.
No, I just think it's totally unnecessary. Tell me, so you pay about £800 over that time. What would that phone to buy outright?
For them to buy, I've got a friend who runs a phone shop, actually. For them to buy that phone, for 3 to buy it, not the phone shop, but 3 to buy it, they probably buy that phone for £200 less.
Right. But how much would you have to pay if you wanted to buy that phone outright?
About 600 and something pound, I think.
So 600 and something quid, and so over the 2 years you pay £800. That includes the contract. That includes the phone calls and data.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
30 gig of data, unlimited message. You probably pay about £800-900. So you're actually paying about £200-300 for your contract, your phone and stuff like that. That's why they want you to take a phone on. My last contract was the same, 30 gig of data. Unlimited minutes and texts and all that sort of stuff, and that was £18 a month. And I was on a month-to-month contract. I could cancel any time within a month.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad to me. What organisation is that with? So what telco?
3.
Oh, that's with 3, is it?
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
Okay. Because you know that's how you watch the show. Coming from the caravan, this is all over 4G. This program, all over the 4G network. Fantastic.
Chris, I've watched last night. I played with this for like a day and a half now. Last night I was watching YouTube. The quality was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I downloaded films onto it and watched them. The quality was unbelievable. I'm on BT internet at home,
yes.
so I watched it on BT internet. and I'm across the road from an exchange, so mine's probably one of the fastest you can get. At the weekend, when I've got my 3 kids here, there could be 5 or 6 different units using the internet, and nobody stutters.
Right. I want to learn how to.
people-
I mean, I don't know how to download. I know it sounds stupid. I don't know how to download films or television programs onto my iPad. I mean, for example, you know the BBC iPlayer ones, because on the flight to Cyprus, and I'll be going back towards the end of the year to visit my niece and her family. There's no TVs on the plane. It's not a long enough flight. Although it is nearly 5 hours, it's like it can be anything between 4 and 5 hours, depending where the old wind is at the time. And it's boring. It's boring. So I want to try and find out.
The only thing with iPads is, and you may have changed this now on the newer ones.
Yes.
You have to go to iTunes.
Eh?
Put anything on them. You've got to go to iTunes to put anything on them.
Yes.
Which is, to me, I like you just plug it in like any other thing. You plug it in, it comes up as an external hard drive. You drag and drop it across, and it's on.
Yeah, that iTunes is a blooming nightmare to work. I've never got. Dreadful. I've never been able to get on.
This year. It's going.
Eh?
It's going. iTunes is going. They're getting rid of it. They're stopping doing iTunes now.
Yeah, they're bringing out apps instead, aren't they?
Yeah, which will be easier. It'll be drag and drop.
Yeah, good. We'll all be able to know what we're doing. I hope it is easier. That's the only thing. It might, just because they're getting rid of that and bringing out something else, it might not necessarily be easier. But when I had, years and years ago, when I had a Nokia phone, for example, okay, and I wanted to put some music on it, I simply plugged it into my computer, grabbed the music with the mouse and dragged it over into that file. Bang, and it was on there. The mucking around you have to do on the iTunes, it is just...
Well, on iTunes, you've got to put it in the library, and then add it as a playlist or whatever to the thing.
Yes.
And of course, if you delete it from your computer, and I did this many a time for people, I used to do it for people, I would delete it, because obviously I don't want their music, I would delete it from my computer. They would bring their iPad to say, oh, can you put some new tunes on, especially my mate? And I'd have an auto sync, so because the old stuff wasn't there, it wiped it out the iPad. iPod. Sorry.
Yeah, I rarely use it, to be honest, only if I'm absolutely desperate. But you've got to do this add file and then sync phone and it's just a nightmare, that iTunes thing. And I like Mac. Every time they update it, it seems to become even more complicated. It's just a nightmare. That
I don't like iPhones. I hate iPhones, but I like MacBooks.
MacBooks. Yeah, a couple of people over the time have told me, you need to change over to Macs. But I've said before, the problem is once you've bought into a particular system, it's difficult to change because you've got to change everything.
No, Mac and Windows now work together.
Do they? Well,
Mac and Windows now. You can have. You can
I
actually put a
Yeah.
Windows operating system on a Mac now if you want to, as a second system.
Oh, it's a similar one to it. My mate's got Macs. He's always had Apples, and he's very happy with them. The way they work, I must say, because I'm not used to them, sometimes I've got his laptop open and I might be doing something on it, and then suddenly it'll just go blank, not blank, but I'll lose the window. Oh, what have I done now? And he does something.
You don't get that on Mac.
Very difficult.
Get that on Mac. Mac never crashes.
All right, lovely to talk to you, Roy. Thanks ever so much for calling
Chris,
in.
have a good one. And I've not even had 2 hours of you, and I've got earache, so I can understand what you say.
An absolute pleasure to talk to you, sir. I'll see you soon, Roy.
Goodbye.
Hey?
Goodbye.
Tatty bye. There we are. Roy Brownlowe calling in there. He's in Derby in the UK. So that was nice to talk to someone tonight. There's a phone number over there in the corner if you want to join in. 0208 144 3477. Just a couple of messages coming through here. Hello to Maureen, who's just tuned in this evening. A very good evening to you, Maureen, who's just tuned in on the YouTube. So I know that's working now, that YouTube. I was a little bit concerned that some of the YouTube stuff hasn't been working for a while, but there we are. Thank you there. Hello to Dr. SOS Gregorian, who's on holiday still in Armenia. Daytime temperature 37 degrees Celsius. Oh, nighttime 20. That's uncomfortable. Mind you, actually, chuck off the duvet and just have a light sheet over you in that sort of temperature. I know my sister is over with her husband visiting my niece at the moment in Cyprus, and it's quite difficult there heat-wise. I think she got 40 degrees the other day, which would be too much for me, you know. Hello to Jamie Clark. Good evening, Jamie. Welcome to the show, Jamie. Clarissa's there up in Manchester. Hello, Clarissa. She's off tomorrow morning. Just loaded up my MP3 player. Done it via YouTube. How do you do that? Gosh. You loaded it up via YouTube. I wouldn't know where to start with that. I did have a little MP3 player. It was like, it was a little yellow. I had two, actually. I had a little yellow one and a little black one. And they were like, I think it was called a Pebble. It was ever so small, Pebble. And I used to wear that over my arm when I went jogging, when I used to go jogging. Unfortunately, my knees started playing up a little bit, so we had to give up with that, I'm afraid. All right. As I was saying to you, I don't know where the summer's gone, to be honest. We've been promised very hot weather for ages, and it's just not materialised. Last night, I left work at 11 o'clock. We had a karaoke night last night. I host karaoke twice a week, once on a Monday and once on a Friday at Central Station Bar in Wharfdale Road, King's Cross. It's a great night, and last night was great. Really nice in there last night. I met up with a friend I've known for about 30 years. I see him on and off now, you know, once every, I don't know, twice a year maybe. He pops into the pub just to say hello to me, and it was lovely to see him, all dressed up in a suit he was and all that. And we do have a laugh when I had to come off the stage and talk to him while I'm working. And I left there just about 11 at night, and the rain was just unbelievable last night. In fact, it came down so heavy. There was a lot of water on the road, and it actually brought down my miles per gallon in the car. You know, you could feel the water holding you back. Do you know what I mean? When you get a lot of water on the road, any of you that are drivers, you'll know exactly what I mean, that when there's water on the road, it actually slows you down. And it did last night. It was dreadful. Not only that, but I was a little bit faster than I usually go, all right? And it told me I had plenty of petrol before I left, you know, 80 miles on that little, you know, that thing on the dashboard that says, you know, you have 80 miles before you've got to fill up. And as I got closer to this end, it was coming down quicker than it usually does, possibly because of the water on the road, I don't know. And it was reading that I only had about 15 miles to play with. And I thought, oh, you better fill up. It was pouring down, absolutely chucking it down. I got into this petrol station, and Apple Green, I think it's called, Apple Green petrol stations, which seem to be one of the cheapest ones around here, them and Asda. I've got an Asda in Boston, so I hadn't got to Boston, it was the one before that. I can't remember where it is, possibly Spalding or somewhere like that it was. And I got under the thing, and it's all pouring down, but I'm under the cover, you know, the petrol cover thing, where it's over the petrol pumps. And I've got out of my car, and what I didn't realise was how windy it was last night. Not only was it raining, but it was windy. So, of course, even though you're underneath that thing, the wind is blowing the rain at you. Now, on my dashboard, it didn't say it was a particularly cold night. It was reading 11 degrees, which isn't like freezing cold. 11 degrees isn't freezing cold. You know, it's cold, but not freezing cold. Anyway, so I'm standing out there now. I've got my petrol up. I'm pumping into the car. And I'm getting blooming cold. I started shivering. In June. I started shivering in June. And I'm getting a little bit wet. Eventually I finished it off and put the cap on. And of course, it's still pouring down with rain. Now, I don't know why it is, but petrol stations often, they don't have a cover between the petrol pumps and where you go and pay. So you've got to walk in that bit. I thought, oh, Christ. Yeah, I'm going to get wet here. Good evening to Rosemary Dixon joining us on the YouTube this evening. Good evening, Rosemary. So I opened the door again and I grabbed this. It was actually this one I was wearing. Oh, we got another call coming in. I'll come back to the story in a minute. Hello to Gelnda in Pennsylvania. 6500 2000. Good evening, Gelnda.
Good evening to you. It's good afternoon over here.
I know, it's an afternoon show today. You're usually
Yes.
asleep when I'm doing this, aren't you?
Well, I'm just about ready to get up when your show is getting completed because I start work at 6 in the morning
Ah,
and I work until 2:30 in the afternoon.
okay. What is it you do, Gelnda?
I am a risk adjustment coder for a well-known health insurance company in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So over here we have Medicare, which is for the senior citizens like 65 and up. So you guys have universal health care
Yes.
in England and the UK. We don't, but we have like Medicaid for the low-income people. So that's free health care. And Medicare is something for our senior citizens, which is 65 and older. And yes, they have to pay for it, but it comes out of their Social Security. So once you turn 65, you can collect Social Security here in the United States.
Right.
The age difference varies because I think like by the time I retire, because I'm only 38, so I'll probably have to be like 70 or 72 by the time I can collect.
Oh,
my
you've
Social
got a
Security.
long way to go yet, Gelnda. A very long way to go, my
Yeah,
dear. I could
I'll
get
have
it though.
one foot
I'm
in the grave.
56. I could get it.
Yeah, but so basically what I do is because I work for a health insurance company. So with Medicare, we are reimbursed by the sicker the person is, the more money the health insurance company gets, which kind of doesn't make sense. But so that's where risk adjustment coding comes in. So I will review people's medical records, and if they have diabetes or hyperlipidemia, AIDS, cancer, all of those, like they're all considered hierarchical condition categories or HCCs. So that's what I do. I'm reviewing medical records all day long at my house.
If they've got one of those things, for example, you said, I think diabetes, for example, do they have to pay more for their insurance, for their medical insurance?
Well, no, because with Obamacare, he got rid of what was it called, where they could exclude you from having health insurance. They can't do that anymore. So you might be at a higher risk for the health insurance company, but they can't exclude you. So yes, they may have to pay more money to get insured, but it's not like they can say, oh, well, we won't offer you health insurance because you have these conditions. They can't do that anymore with Obamacare.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah. Okay. Well, that was good.
But
thing.
Our healthcare system here in the United States is not bad. I mean, I know everybody thinks about universal healthcare, but when I was doing my research paper and I was using your country as an example, and I found some information on the internet, and it said like you had to wait. People that needed a knee replacement had to be on a waiting list for like 4 to 5 months.
Wow.
To even get the surgery. Here, if my mom had a knee problem, she would go to the doctor. I mean, basically, I can go see a specialist whenever I want. With my health insurance, if I'm having a back problem and I want to go to an orthopedic doctor, I don't even have to go to my primary care physician to give me a referral. I can get an appointment scheduled with the orthopedic doctor probably within 2 weeks, maybe a month at the most.
Right.
And if I have a problem, like they'll give me an MRI or whatever they need to do. But I mean, our healthcare system is not that bad.
How much do you? May I ask how much you pay for that, please?
For my health insurance?
Yes.
Because I work for a health insurance company, and at my job, Pardon?
How much would someone who's not associated with any insurance companies, but like a normal person in the street, what would they be paying?
Okay, so if they did not have a job through their if they did not have health insurance through their job and they just wanted to go pick it up, I mean, it could be. It just depends. Like with Obamacare, some people would be able to get Obamacare, so it would be cheaper.
Right.
But I mean, I know my sister. She's a therapist, basically kind of like a psychologist, and she has to pay for her own insurance. And I think she pays probably like $400 or $500 a month.
$500 a month
for her health insurance. Yeah, $400 or $500, I believe.
So that's.
But I only pay for my husband and I think out of my paycheck every 2 weeks, it's like $30 or $40.
But that's because you work for the insurance company, isn't it?
Well, not only that, like because the health insurance company that I work for is also associated with a big medical system in the area.
Right.
So like we get discounts through something called My Health Rewards.
Yes.
So as long as I have to qualify, my BMI has to be below a certain point. I think like your BMI, which is your body mass index.
Yes.
It has to be, I believe, below 25.
Right.
You have to have your blood sugar has to be good. Your LDL, which is your cholesterol, has to be fine. And you have to do like a couple of healthy activities, which is like a dental cleaning, just other things that you have to do. And then once you qualify for that, then that gives you an even bigger discount. So I qualify for all that stuff, so I get a better discount with my health insurance.
Well, that's not bad, is it? But I mean, $500 a month the normal person in the street pays. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. So my sister makes good money, so.
Oh, fair enough.
But still, yeah, it is. Yeah, she's a therapist, so
But,
she's
you
like
know,
basically a counselor.
If there is someone, for example, walking around in Pennsylvania and they are knocked over by a car and they don't have insurance, what happens?
Okay. Well, because I used to work for an attorney, I can answer that question for you. So if they were hit by a car and they have a vehicle, that person that was injured, we would call them the plaintiff, okay?
Right.
And the person that hit that person would be the tortfeasor. So the plaintiff, the injured person, if they had a vehicle, then what they would do is, in Pennsylvania, we have something called first party benefit, which is with regard to if you are injured in a car accident, basically the first party benefits kick in. They are your health insurance benefits. Now, the Pennsylvania state minimum requirement, when I was still working for the attorney, which was 5 or 6 years ago, it was $5,000 was the state minimum as to how much you would have to carry for your health, first party benefits, which is medical benefits under your car insurance.
Right.
Now you can go and you can raise that as high as you want, but generally most people have $5,000. And then if that person didn't have health insurance, once those benefits were exhausted, then they would be stuck with the medical bills, or else they would sue the person that hit them to pay for them.
Yeah, wow. It is very different
But that's
there.
what happened.
It is very different here. You know, something goes wrong, we just go into a hospital, they sort it out, and we walk out. We don't sign a form or anything. No, nothing to sign.
You mean
just
you don't have
literally...
any like kind of HIPAA forms or anything like that?
No, I can't.
Well, I'm sure you have HIPAA.
What the last time I went in, what did I go in for? I went to casualty.
You had an ultrasound.
Yeah, I went to casualty. I'd eaten something, and my throat was very sore afterwards. And I went down, and what had happened is that something sharp had scratched as it went down. You know, like a crisp or something, and damaged my just at the back of the throat
esophagus.
there, which he said a day or so you won't even know it's happened, and that was it. And I walked out. End of story. You know, there's nothing to do. Nothing to sign or anything like that, and that's just how it works here. You know, Gelnda. But it is interesting. But like you were saying, you know, if I need a new knee. Okay, if I got a problem with my knee, and I have been to the doctors a couple of times with a knee problem, and they basically sent me away with some painkillers, you know. But if it got to I need a new knee, you would join a waiting list 6-9 months, anything like that. Now, you would have if you've got a bit of money, you could then go to a private hospital. You could say, can we go private? And you could offer to pay for it. And you probably go in within a week. I don't know how that works, really. But yes, that facility is there. We do have various different health insurances that you can have here. But there would be a long list of things. If you've got these things, then they would be looking at these things and saying, you know, can we relate that hurt knee to that condition in which... what's it called?
They call it over here pre-existing conditions.
That's it, yeah,
pre-existing
conditions. Pre-existing conditions is what it is, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Gelnda.
Yeah. But I wanted to tell you a story. My mom had a bat in her house the other day.
A what?
A bat.
A bat?
Yeah, do you not have bats over there?
Well, we do, yeah, but they don't get in houses.
They're like a little mouse with wings. Oh. I didn't know if you had them over there or not.
Yeah, we have bats. Yeah, we have bats.
Okay. But anyway, so I get a call at 12:30 in the morning, and my mom's like, Glenda, there's a bat in my house. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's freaking out. And it had came in through, she has an air conditioner in her one window, and she didn't shut the top part of the window all the way. And the bat came into her bedroom, and it was flying around, and it woke her up. So my husband went over to the house, and he tried to get it. He couldn't get it. It went under the refrigerator. So what happened is she ends up coming over to my house to sleep because she's so scared. She's with this bat in the house, and we can't find it. We end up having to get the game commission in Pennsylvania to come and try to look for the bat.
Yeah.
He couldn't find it. So then my dad, which is my mom's ex-husband, drove 3.5 hours down to her house, and he stayed on Friday night at the house while she came to my house again, and he was staying up trying to look to see if the bat would make an appearance. It didn't. So then the following day, we all went running around doing some errands on Saturday, and then finally in the afternoon they moved the refrigerator, and here the bat was dead on the floor. So it had died.
How did it die? Didn't give it anything to eat, probably.
I think that's what happened, because when my husband, somehow the bat must have gotten scared and went under the refrigerator, and so my husband was moving the refrigerator out to try to see if he could get to it, and he thinks that he must have injured it when he was doing that.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And then she had to get it tested for rabies.
Obviously very difficult to catch then.
Yeah, well, I mean, we weren't going to kill it. Because legally, I guess if a bat gets into your house, from what the game commissioner was telling my mom, if a bat gets into your house, you're legally allowed to kill it, but then you have to get it tested for rabies.
Right, I think they're protected over here. Bats are protected over here.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
Some species here in Pennsylvania are protected and some aren't.
Right.
But yeah, that was a fun story I thought I'd share with you.
Well, I think from now on, you're not going to be called Gelnda, you're going to be called the Bat Lady.
No, please don't.
Or the old bat.
That's not a good
How's that one? The old bat.
And your nickname is Mr. England.
Mr. England.
Yes. And I love how when you say awful, you say, oh, so awful.
It was awful.
It's so awful.
Awful.
I think yes. And then ghastly. Oh, I love when you say that.
Oh, it's one of my favourite words. Ghastly. Ghastly people.
Yeah. And I noticed that you haven't talked about Gemma Collins in a while.
No, well, I've done her now. She's a bit boring. There's nothing to talk about with Gemma Collins. There is no talent, Gelnda.
Oh, okay.
Have you looked her up recently?
No, she's not famous over here.
There's no talent, I'm afraid. I've kind of talked about her as much as I can, I think. There's nothing else to say about her, really, Gelnda.
I haven't really even been watching much TV because I'm in college, and between working full time and going to school, my whole day on Sunday was doing a research paper, and it was absolutely beautiful out, and I was stuck inside the whole day long having to write a paper. And yeah, today it's really, really nice out. There's no clouds in the sky. It's gorgeous. It's 80 degrees out.
I couldn't imagine wanting to go back to school again. To do anything really. I didn't hate school. I didn't go to a horrible school or anything. I went to a nice school, but I wouldn't want to go back, It
takes a lot of dedication. Especially when you work full time. It's very time consuming.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Gosh.
But
well, Gelnda,
it will all be worth it in the end.
I'm sure it will. You keep at it and you will get there. Lovely to talk to you, Gelnda, all the way in Pennsylvania.
It was nice to talk to you, too. You take care.
You look after yourself. Bye-bye, Gelnda.
All right, bye-bye.
Cheerio. The lovely Gelnda. She's such a nice person, Gelnda in Pennsylvania, who calls in a couple of times a year. She calls in and gives us a bit of a chin wag there. Over to some of your messages, and I carry on with my stories. Mr. SOS Gregorian is listening and playing his Euro Track Simulator. Euro Track Simulator. Is that a computer game? Oh, hang on, he tells me. You get to drive trucks, lorries, and get to hire drivers in the game. Very nice, but very addictive. Yeah, I don't really do computer games, I must admit. I've seen a couple of train ones, which I've been tempted to have a go at. you know, like a train simulator or something like that. Because I was very much into electric train sets. I still am, to be honest. We talked in length about this a couple of weeks ago, I think, where with Lego actually do trains. Lego do little trains, battery operated, but it's all plastic. I mean, I could have a little Lego train set going around the caravan, couldn't I? How fantastic would that be? But it's a little bit of an expensive thing. It's a bit of an expensive thing, it really is. Clarissa, wouldn't the driver pay? There you go, Clarissa knows there. She says, oh, that's it, is it? Wouldn't the driver pay, depending whose fault it was? Yes, I think that's what she was saying there, Clarissa. Ross has left me a voicemail. Thank you, Ross. I'll pick that up later then. Oh, I saw you trying to call in. Yeah, you can't call in. If there's someone already on the phone, you can't call in. Okay, that's why I couldn't answer. If you want to call in now, that's fine, okay? Bupa is one of the things Clarissa says that we have here in the UK. That's right. But if you have like a pre-existing condition, usually you tell them, I don't know, diabetes, okay, then they won't deal with diabetes or anything else, you say. Oh, am I live on Reach FM now? Am I live on Reach as well? Or I promise not to swear then. I promise not to swear. Okay? Yes, you know, if you've got diabetes, then they won't cover diabetes. But the problem is with that, with these private health insurance people, they will say the diabetes and say, you know, you've got a bad finger. Oh, that's to do with the diabetes, so we're not covering that. Do you see the problem? So these private insurance companies, it's all very well, and I had one for years. I had a private insurance for years, and it was fantastic. But then I got something a few years, about 10 years ago now, and once I had that, I came off it because my specialist doctor told me that they wouldn't cover me for certain things. He said, you're wasting your money, come out of it. So I did. Ross is on the line from Norwich. Good evening, Ross.
Testing 1, 2, are we on?
Of course we're on. We are live on air to billions of people all over the world, lovey.
Yes, and we are also live on reachonair.com, the world's greatest radio station.
How
as well.
exciting. We are bilingual tonight. Is that the right word, dear?
Simulcast.
Pardon? Simulcast. Is that what it is?
Simulcast, I think they call it, yeah.
Simulcast. Good evening, Ross. Here, Ross.
How are you?
Here, I've got to tell you've obviously rung up. Have you rung up with someone, or can I talk?
You can do it. You want the short show.
Listen, aren't you glad, right? Now, I'm not saying that I could ever have got on, but aren't you glad you never tried to get onto independent local radio now?
Yep, I said exactly the same thing when all of the radio stations, the heart stations, decided to get rid of their presenters. Yeah. I said exactly the same thing to Don. I went, not that I would have probably ever got anywhere, but if I would have relied on that job alone as an income for a mortgage, we would have been screwed.
You would have had it. You would have had it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I say the same thing. I'm not saying I could have got on, but I didn't try, and I'm glad I didn't. Just to give people a bit of background here who are not into radio, all the little independent local radio stations, you've probably got one wherever you are in the country, they have been gradually bought up by 2 or 3 large organisations, and all the DJs in these little radio stations, a lot of them have been sacked. We're talking hundreds here. Hundreds of them have been sacked, and now what they do is have one programme coming from London, Manchester, wherever, and they network it across all the stations. It's terrible. It really is terrible.
Awful.
I'm so glad I never got on, to be honest.
No, over the last couple of years, I've actually sort of become kind of Facebook friends with 2 of the presenters from the Heart Breakfast show here in Norwich. They were called Dave and Heidi, and I thought they were brilliant presenters. You know, they were always sort of like local stuff. They, were a little bit risque sometimes, and they used to have a laugh, and that was always a good show. And I got chatting to them quite a lot. And I said, what are you going to do when this is all finished in a couple of months? This is like a couple of months ago when they found the news out. And he said, I don't know. I said, well, I said to this Dave, the presenter, I said, well, are you going to get another job? He went, there's nothing going. He went, there's jobs going anyway. He went,
there's nothing.
No.
I'll tell you.
He said he's going to have to go. He's going to have to learn a trade, or he's going to have to get a kind of normal job. He went, but the problem is now there is no jobs going anywhere. And he said he's very scared for the future.
I should think he is. I tell you what, I'm afraid I'm going to be quite blunt and tell you what they've got to do. What they've got to do, if they want to be on the radio, they probably can be on the radio. They can do something like you and me, you know, and that they will soon get to love doing that, because we don't really have many restrictions. All right, we don't swear, you know, and we don't be purposely horrible about anyone or incite racism or anything like that, okay? But basically we have a completely free hand in what we do, which is something they won't be used to coming from independent local radio. They could go on an online station, right? Or if they want to go just take a step down, community radio. A lot of these people, they can probably get a show on community radio and be very good on there. But,
Do you know,
but
there's a radio station around a corner from ours called Park Radio, and there's about 4 or 5 ex-professional presenters who are now retired, and the radio stations they were on years ago all kind of, you know, got swallowed up by these big companies, and they actually do community radio as a hobby. And one of the presenters I was talking to the other day, who used to be a proper presenter on when it used to be called Radio Broadland in Norwich. Yeah. He's now doing just a community radio station, voluntary. He does the breakfast show. He's retired. He does the breakfast show from 7 till 10. Doesn't get paid a penny. He said, and he is having the time of his life. He said, because they give him free rein. He can play pretty much whatever music he wants, and he can do the show he wants. And he said he absolutely loves it. And I think that's the way forward.
There's 2 near me here in the caravan. The nearest one is Boston, Endeavour FM, which is in Boston. Yeah. And there's one in Lincoln City. I think it's called Lincoln City Radio. So we've got 2 community radio stations near me. And looking at other community stations across the country, sometimes you click on them and you just click on the presenters and you'll find a lot of old people doing it exactly as you say, people who have perhaps been in proper radio for a while, and then they get on the computer, they have a free rein. But the big thing is, if you're not retired and you haven't got a bit of money, like who are those 2 people you mentioned from Heart?
Dave and Heidi.
Dave and Heidi, presumably they're fairly young, sort of early 30s, late 20s age, are they? Yeah. Right? I'm afraid, to be perfectly blunt, they're going to have to get a normal job. They can go on community radio, they can go on internet radio, but for money, they're going to have to get a normal job. It may be, it must be dreadful having been in a job they love and then having to go and work, and I know you work in Tesco's. Now, there's nothing wrong with working in Tesco's, but to have been on the radio and have all that recognition and the spotlights on you, and you go out and be, oh, hello, Ross, how are you today? We heard you on the radio. That's lovely. And then you go into Tesco's, stacking shelves. That's just soul destroying. And I really feel for all these people. But that's how it's gone. And as I said to you right at the beginning of our conversation there, it's such a shame. Of course, there's Reach FM, which you're on now. Sorry, what's it called? Reach on Air. Reach on Air.
ReachOnAir.com.
Am I on that now? Am I?
We're on there now. Yeah.
Okay. Reach on Air.
I'm playing your stream on there. Yeah.
Anyone who wants to do a radio show, you know, about anything at all, can go on Reach on Air. And it's easy. You download the software. It basically walks through it. If you're having trouble, they've got someone to help you. And it's so easy. All you need is a computer. I mean, what's your setup, Ross? What's your setup? Tell us your setup.
I'm in the garage right now. So I've got 2 laptops. I've got one laptop, which I broadcast with, which is a 10-year-old laptop. It's a very basic laptop, but that broadcasts, and that's all it does. That broadcasts and records. And then I've got my Playout laptop, which is a better laptop. So I've got my virtual DJ, I've got my MP3s. And then to my left-hand side, I've got my microphone, going into my mixer, and then the mixer goes into my broadcast laptop. I turn up 5 minutes before my show. I get a large glass of wine at 5 to 9. I've got a couple of packs. I've got a couple of packs of mini cheddars. I can play what I want. And do you know what, Chris? I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, same as me doing this. I love it. I absolutely love it. And for my money,
one good thing, and I don't want to sound horrible. There won't be any Heart presenters listening, but one kind of good thing that maybe come out of this is that people who come up with this thing, and you've seen it time and time again. You get people come on internet radio and go, they go on there and present, and they pretend that they're doing a heart breakfast show, or they pretend they're doing something that they aren't, and they try to be these presenters they're not, but they're not just having fun. They're trying to be scripted. And I kind of think, in a way, that internet radio and community radio, that's the time for that to shine now, because people are going to come on here, and they're going to come on here not with the ambition of being a radio presenter professionally and getting paid for it. They're going to come on here, have some fun, and just enjoy doing a show just as a hobby, but not wanting to make a job out of it.
As you and I do.
Yeah.
As you and I do.
Yeah, it's good, and I love it. And all these years you've been doing it, and all the years I've been doing it, we both enjoy it. We do it when we want, and no one hassles us. We know the rules. We know what you can push it to the edge. I mean, you're very lucky. You can do anything you want. You could. I know you try and keep it a bit more family friendly, but you could do whatever you want because there's nothing stopping you. Whereas on Reach on Air, you kind of can't go too far. But I push things as much as I can. I love taking phone calls, and I just love the randomness of it. And I love the whole thing of just
And
have my 3 hours a week. And
I think that comes across. I mean, before all these people were sacked, I've got to say, I listened to some of them and I thought, this is really fake. You are not actually enjoying what you're doing. And I can tell you're reading from a bit of paper. I can tell.
But problem is they're playing the same 50 songs, and there becomes a point when you've played the same 50 songs for the last 5 years that you don't get excited by anything you're playing. Whereas the music I play a lot of stuff. I'll be honest with you, I play all of my favourite songs. I don't go, I'm going to play the new Katy Perry song. I'm going to play everything that Heart and Radio 1 and Radio 2 are playing. I play what I like, because I think if you play what you really, really like, that will come out on the radio, that you're enjoying the music.
I agree.
If you play the same songs that Heart churn out day in, day out, well, you're not enjoying what you're playing.
No.
You know what I mean?
Tony Power, who's watching on YouTube tonight, he says there's no money in any kind of entertainment these days, Chris, and that includes music. I mean, some of these people, the money that people like Elton John and George Michael, people like that, and quite rightly so that they should make so much money. But people, you don't think Ollie Murs is making that sort of money, do you? Or
but they make money now. They don't make money on music
or Katy Perry.
They make money
people
on
like
tickets.
That. They're probably making quite a bit, but they're not making the money that Elton John or people like that or Queen used to make. It's the people at the accountants.
Then they relied on vinyl sales and blah blah blah. But now all bands, they rely on tickets. They rely on ticket sales because tickets will never die. People will always want to. You'll always want to go and see your favourite band at some point in your life. So that bands and artists are now relying on ticket sales and gigs, and they have to gig all the time. You see some of the bands now, they're gigging all the time because they don't make money on music, and that's been proven. That Spotify and that, they get something like 0.005p a stream.
It's tiny, isn't it? Tony also says the big artists are making big money, only a fifth of what they used to make back in the 1970s, which I kind of get that. But I mean, I think the big artists still make a lot of money, but those who are sort of new in the last, 20 years or so, they're not, are they? And talking about, tickets for going to see bands and that, some of those are getting a bit pricey now as well, aren't they? Don't you think?
Well, yeah, but but they've had to put the prices of tickets up to reflect the loss in sales of CDs that aren't important and that anymore. Yeah. My friend Bernie, he interviewed Ed Sheeran on Future Radio that I used to be on. He interviewed him in the very, very early days of when Ed Sheeran was a rising star. And Ed Sheeran, he relied solely on he used to burn off demo CDs at his gigs. He'd burn off like 50 CDs before a gig, and he relied on selling demo CDs at his gigs, because a lot of the gigs he played were free gigs. So he used to just basically live on the demo CD money, like £5 a CD, and that was all he lived off until he got obviously signed, and then he got money. But he said for the first 2 or 3 years, he made.
I know our friend Tony, who's with us at the moment, and I've got a few friends who who do their music and then they make, I don't know, they order X number of CDs and then they literally sell them on the internet, you know, over on Facebook, and that's how they make not an awful lot, but a little bit of money like that.
Yeah, and that you know, that's kind of the only way that you can rely on demos and you know, selling CDs at gigs and ticket sales, because there's no money. There's no money in music anymore.
No, it's a shame, really, isn't it? All right, Ross.
That's just how it goes. Everything moves on.
Well, nice to talk to you there. It's been lovely being back on reachonair.com once again.
Yeah, and you're welcome back anytime. You know that if you ever want to come back on there and do a show.
I know, that's very kind of you. See you soon,
All
Ross.
right, have a good night.
Have fun. Bye-bye now. There we are, Ross Patzelt calling in. That was nice to talk to him. I haven't spoken to him for ages. Ross is doing a little show, a radio show on Reach on Air at the moment. Hello to Gary in Luton. Good evening, Gary, who says, love the show. Just one question. Who is this weird farmer you have been speaking to you at the moment? Well, Ross, he's not a farmer. I know he sounds like a farmer. He's got the Norfolk accent. That's where he's from. That's why. It's not a farmer. Thank you, Roy. Sent me an emoji. Clarissa, Tameside Radio has now changed. I loved presenting, but now it's all gone commercial. What's commercial? I don't know what. Oh, commercial. I beg your pardon. Commercial. Yeah, you're right. Hardly any chit chat. Just adverts and music. You see, I mean, that's not what local radio or I don't think that's what community radio is supposed to be about. Just music. Yeah, it's just, don't tell me they're starting to affect that as well now. She loved doing the matinee. They had such a laugh. Yes. Price of band tickets are mental. Over £100 to see Ozzy Osbourne. It's dear. And Clarissa says that's why I like festivals. It was just over £200 for 5 days. 200 quid. Gosh. And over 3 days you get to see lots of big name bands. Yeah, but the toilets, Clarissa. I couldn't go to one of those festivals. The toilets are awful, aren't they? Awful, dear. Absolutely ghastly toilets. Cheaper than seeing them separately. Well, I'm sure it is, but you see, that's the these big outdoor band events like Glastonbury and all that, I just couldn't bear to use the toilets. Oh my God. They're just like these portable things, and I'm telling you now, they fill up. Do you know what I'm saying? They fill up, those toilets. It's not if they fill up, it's when. And then what do? You've got to crouch behind a bush. You don't know what you're stepping in. How awful. Awful. Mike comments there about the NHS, who says, I don't think we have such a bad deal with the NHS compared to other countries. No, we're very, very lucky to have the NHS. We are very lucky. I don't know what's going to happen with it, to be honest. It's all in a little bit of a mess at the moment, isn't it? Tony says, I sent out 60 CDs this week, had 200 streams worth absolutely nothing. Oh, you don't charge for the CDs, Tony? I know there's a couple of people. Ferrell, he has. I bought a CD off him as well, you know, just to support him and that. But I bought a CD off Ferrell. Do you know Ferrell? He makes music. He made these CDs and sent them out to people, and he sold them online. But you're never going to make, I mean, if you want to do it as a job, you're not going to make a lot of money, are you? Selling sort of single CDs for someone. Clarissa says they constantly kept the toilets clean, did they? Oh dear. Hello to those of you on Vaughan Live. Patrick Murphy, do you live on a narrow boat? No, it's just that this is just up the road from me, and that's why that picture's behind me. Literally, that river, which I'm a bit concerned about. With all this rain we've had up here in Lincolnshire, I'm a bit concerned at how high that river is going to be tomorrow. I'm going to have a little walk up there tomorrow. I'll take my camera with us and do a couple of pictures. All right. Hello to Flipper. Good evening to Flipper today. Let's have a look there. Are you talking to each other there or me? I think you're talking to each other. Paul and Lou, we're going to Glastonbury. It's 2 weeks today. The high-rise Lou's. I'm not going to read that. You poo into a wheelie bin. Oh, God. There's no way I could go to one of those outdoor events. Absolutely no way. Although I'm coming up here, just up the road in Woodhall Spa. They have a 40s weekend every year, which is sometime in June, and I'm coming up here for this year. It's the first time I've come up for that. And as I've got the caravan in the area, you know, I might as well come. So I'm coming up to a 40s. And they have all tanks, and everyone, a lot of people dress in the 40s in the army stuff and cars and all that, so motorbikes. I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll get some good videos that weekend as well. So that's it. If you want to have a look at it, it's the Woodhall Spa 40s weekend. If you're stuck for something to do, then you probably won't get a hotel in the area for then. My guess is they're all booked up now. Tony was walking down the street yesterday. It was pouring. What happened? The truck passed. I had a bath. Oh no, really? Really? Did you get soaked when the truck went past? Sorry to hear that, Tony. Not a pleasant experience, is it, getting wet when that happens? I'm going to finish off my story, boys and girls, and then we'll probably finish up, gang. Okay? And the story was, we were talking about the wind and the rain yesterday when I was filling my car up. Okay? So I've gone into the car, got my jacket, and I'm trying to put it on, and it's literally blowing, like something like a witch in The Wizard of Oz. You know when they like she's on the bike and she's cycling and the wind is blowing her stuff all over the place. That's what was happening to the jacket. I couldn't even get it on. It was difficult to get this on. Anyway, I'd done it up, and it's not particularly. It's a thin jacket. You know, it's an old thin jacket. This is, and I thought, right, here we go. So I then ran from the petrol pump over to where you pay. Of course, it's closed. So I've had to go to the little window, which is giving you no protection at all from the rain there, this window. And she said, do you want anything else? I was really hungry by now, so I bought, rather foolishly, a sandwich and a bag of crisps. I don't usually eat. I try to avoid bread at all costs because it can give me terrible acid. Now and again, I can get away with having a bit of bread, but I tend to avoid it most of the time. So I've got this in. I've paid my money. And I'm physically shaking. I am physically shaking. I'm so cold now. And I said to the woman behind there, who was pleasant enough, but they don't let you into the garage. I mean, they probably think they're going to be knocked over the head and have the money grabbed or something like that, or you're some sort of, you know, pervert who's going to attack them behind there. And paid my money. I said, oh, I'll have a sandwich. So I paid my money, and I said, I don't know why I'm shivering here. I said, it's not even particularly cold. I think I've just got a bit wet coming under there, and the wind has got to me. Anyway, got back into the car, and I soon warmed up with a heater on. And once you've got a full tank of fuel, you're a lot happier. I get really worried. Once I go below a quarter, I start panicking. Probably got another 100 miles in the tank, really, but I like to fill up once I get to a quarter. I think someone said before, you're not supposed to allow the tank to run right to the bottom, because then it starts picking up all sorts of nasty bits and pieces. Is that right? Starts picking up all sorts of nasty bits and pieces in the tank. You know, stuff that might have. Oh, I don't know why that's doing that. Hang on a minute. Let me stop that. Sorry. Not quite sure why it does that. But there we are. One of those things. I got back here, had a cup of tea. I even left. I left my bag in the car last night. Because it was absolutely pelting down. My car is very close to the caravan, so it's just a case of opening the door and then you come up. But of course, you've got to get the key in the door, and in that time, you've got completely soaked. It was like someone had turned a tap on. Anyway, so I went up, watched a little bit of the news on the telly, had a cup of tea, went to bed. The rain was pitter-pattering down at force on the caravan roof, and that's noisy. But it's not an unpleasant noise. It doesn't stop you sleeping. If anything, it sends you off. And it was cold as well. I had a heater on it in June. In June, I had the electric heater on in the bedroom, so it was lovely and toasty in there. I woke up very early, after only 4 hours, about 7, okay, and it was still pouring down. Gosh. Tried to get back to sleep, and I did nod off again, and then I got up about 9:30 on a Tuesday. I usually get up a bit later on a Tuesday because of the long journey up here. And had my breakfast. I thought I'd come in and do a show, but there was a problem with the laptop this morning, and it was also a bit late. I thought, okay, well, we'll try again tonight, which is why I'm here now, to be honest. And then I went down the swimming pool, Boston swimming pool, Jeff Mulder Leisure Centre. That wasn't particularly busy. And came back here, had some lunch, went to sleep, got up, and here I am. So that's why there has been a nighttime show. And I must say, it is nice to do a show at night now and again. It really is. And it's a completely different atmosphere. Different atmosphere altogether. So there we are. by the sounds of it, it may have stopped raining now. Let me have a look out the window. Has it stopped? Oh, it's dark out there. It's still windy. It might be raining just very lightly, but the rain continued for most of the day. And indeed, I don't know if you heard it earlier, it was coming down while we were doing the show, in fact. So I'm a little bit worried about that river up there. Clarissa, were you defying gravity again? Do you know, I'm sick of hearing that song. It's funny, there's certain songs that I cringe when I hear them. Anything from the Rocky Horror Show, I can't stand it. Sweet Transvestite. What's the other one? You know the other one where they do the dance. The other one, the Rocky Horror Show dance. And also Defying Gravity. It doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. I don't know why. Don't know why those songs, I've heard them time and time again. I get fed up listening to the damn things. All right. Right, okay, let's do today's birthdays, boys and girls. And then I'm going to do my dinner. I'm getting a bit hungry now. And I've got to watch Holby City now. I can't believe Holby City. How long have we been on here today then? Hour and a half? Good God. An hour and a half. They're getting longer and longer. All right then. Happy birthday on this Tuesday, the 11th of June 2019 to my cousin Tim Ryan. Happy birthday, Tim, who's 53 years old and looks every year it. Cousin Tim is 53 today. Happy birthday to you, Tim, all right? Jacob, who's a lovely man. I met him in Belush's in London Bridge years ago, is 32 years old today. I think he's in Israel at the moment, celebrating his birthday. He's Jewish. So happy birthday to you, Jacob. I don't know whether I'll ever see you again. I only met him once, and we became friends. So happy birthday to you, Jacob, all right? Joe Kelly, good evening, Joe. 59 years old today. Joe used to come along to the karaoke at the Golden Lion in Camden. Good evening, Joe. Happy birthday to you, sir. Ian Murrox. Good evening, Ian. Happy birthday. Bev Edelstein. I hope I've got that. Edelstein. One of our Manilow ladies. Good evening, Bev. Looks like we made it. 50. No, it doesn't say your age, does it there? Don't know what your age is. Doesn't matter. Happy birthday, Bev. Mark Foreman, good evening, Marsha. Mark is in the house, 46. Good God, I haven't seen you for about 15 years either, have I, Mark? Happy birthday, Mark. Martin Cave, good evening, Martin. 64 today. I work with Martin as his DJ at Coventry's Rainbows Bar, which has been sold and renamed now. Hello, Martin. I think you're in... Now, where are you? I think you're in the Canaries somewhere. I'm not sure. Happy birthday. Clarence Clackers, Rivori, 37 today. Worked with her at Hammersmith Belush's. Nice to see you pop up on my timeline there, Clarice. Happy birthday to you. Clarence. Happy birthday. Michael Darton, 41 years old today. Another Black Cap customer. Good evening, Michael. And Tony Harrison's birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday on this Tuesday. Happy birthday to you. There we are. That's all our birthdays. Oh, there's a couple of little messages there. Let's have a look. No, just people sending stuff. We didn't do any news stories, did we? Tony Power says he's 21 today. Yeah, of course you are, mate. What a shame you don't look like it. That's it then. Thanks ever so much for joining us on our little nighttime show this morning, tonight, boys and girls. Hopefully I'll be with you again tomorrow morning. Around about 9:30ish, 10ish. Tomorrow I'm going to see my nephew and his wife and great niece Evie, great niece Olivia and great nephew Harry. They're at the Rainbow Hospice. The youngest of my great nieces, Olivia, needs 24-hour care, so they're just having a little bit of a respite and trying out some new drugs and things down there for her. So that's why I'm going to Rainbow Hospice, which is in Loughborough. So it'd be a bit of a journey down there. It's not a quick drive, unfortunately. It's a good hour and 20 minutes or so, something like that. But it'd be nice to see them tomorrow. Might even try and get in a swim as well. Oh, actually, come to think of it, it might be better to do a nighttime show tomorrow rather than a morning one. Oh, I'm not sure now. Oh, I'm not sure where that's going to fit in tomorrow. But you know how it is. Just have your notifications set up thing switched on your YouTube or your I think you've got a notification thing on Facebook or something like that, and it'll bleep at you whenever there's a show on. So it'll either be tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. Okay. Thanks ever so much for joining us on this Tuesday evening. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheerio now.